No offense, but I started laughing when Kian said she started glowing after them having boom boom.
For the love of literature, can we please not start with the boom boom? It sets a certain tone.
What tone? The tone of actual entertainment, unlike your beloved Moby Dick discussion which, let's be honest, was basically whale watching via audiobook. This is Heartbook Radio, people, and today we're diving into The Half King by Melissa Landers, a book apparently written to make you question God, your boyfriend, and possibly your sister.
While the novel does engage with themes of religious deconstruction and institutional critique, framing it as merely questioning God is reductive. Landers attempts a nuanced exploration of faith versus dogma within a fantasy framework, exploring how power structures co-opt belief systems.
Blah blah blah. Dogma, framework, nuance. It's about a girl who's basically raised in a fantasy cult, meets a king who literally turns into smoke every night, talk about ghosting, and then, get this, she gets superpowers after they finally do the deed. She glows like a firefly.
The manifestation of her latent abilities coinciding with a moment of profound personal connection and self-discovery is clearly symbolic. It represents an awakening.
An awakening triggered by an orgasm. Let's call a spade, one reviewer literally said, magic is just hand-wavy on, then she can do it because she had sex. Hilarious, and our leading lady Cerise, bless her heart, starts off so naive, so sheltered. You want to just shake her.
Her character arc charts a journey from indoctrinated belief to critical thinking. It's meant to resonate with readers who've questioned rigid upbringings. Some found her deeply inspiring, her compassion a driving force.
Inspiringly dense. Maybe takes her forever to figure anything out. And Khan, the half-king? More like the hardly there king. He's cursed to be smoke and shadows half the time. How are you supposed to build a relationship with a sentient fog machine? One reviewer demanded he get a debilitating addiction problem as a coping mechanism or something, just to make him interesting.
That's excessive. The curse is central to the political intrigue and the obstacles facing their burgeoning relationship, though I concede his characterization felt somewhat underdeveloped due to his frequent absences. The insta-love declaration after a mere 5 days did strain credulity.
Strain credulity. It snapped it like a dry twig. 5 days. I've had leftovers in my fridge longer than their entire courtship. And don't even get me started on the ending, spoiler alert. People. But not really, because it makes no sense. Turns out Cerise's sister is actually her mother.
Yes, the Nina reveal. Narratively problematic, it lacked sufficient foreshadowing, undermining the emotional impact and feeling rather tacked on. It felt less like a shocking twist and more like the author suddenly remembered a plot thread needed tying off, regardless of logic.
Tacked on. It was stapled to the last page with a rusty staple gun. It's like finding out your goldfish is secretly your grandpa. And can we talk about Father Padron? The creepy religious dude? Giving Major Frollo vibes? Definitely cancel-worthy.
He serves as a necessary antagonist, embodying the corruption within the religious institution Cerise must confront. A classic archetype, representing the dangers of unchecked authority masked by piety.
Archetype, schmarchetype. He's a creep. Okay, so the big question, is this book actually any good? Because the reviews are all over the place. 1 minute it's a sacred journey, a warm hug. The next it's unbuttered dry white toast.
The thematic ambition is commendable. Tackling religious trauma in a YA-adjacent fantasy setting is brave. However, the execution often falters. The world building feels thin in places, the curses intriguing but not fully explored, and the pacing, particularly the romance.
The romance is garbage, flat. Insta-love nonsense. One poor soul set they skipped a sex scene because the romance leading up to was so bad they just couldn't stomach it. Can you imagine? Skipping the boom boom because the foreplay was that boring.
Which brings us back to the glowing incident, while intended, perhaps, as a metaphor for female empowerment or sexual awakening.
It reads like a really weird side effect. Like, consult your doctor if your magical awakening lasts longer than 4 hours. And people did not finish this thing left and right. One person quit at 55% because, and I quote, it wasn't worth buying the fancy sprayed edge edition. They didn't like the book enough for the fancy edges.
That speaks more to consumer culture than literary merit. Though the sheer divisiveness is fascinating, it clearly struck a chord positively or negatively. Some readers deeply connected with Cerese's emancipation from oppressive doctrine,
while others, like me, were just annoyed she needed a magical orgasm to figure things out. It's like Footloose meets The Handmaid's Tale written by the CW. Okay, listeners, real talk. Would you rather date someone who literally turns into smoke every night, or someone whose defining trait is glowing after sex? Email us, I guess. Probably don't.
I believe the central conflict regarding faith and control is compelling, even if the romantic and fantasy elements are uneven. It attempts something significant.
It attempts to be deep while also having a dude who's basically Casper the Moody Ghost and a heroine powered by hormones. It tried, bless its heart. Like you tried with that interpretive dance phase in college.
That was performance art and entirely unrelated. Fine. Rating time. Despite my reservations about the execution, the thematic core warrants some credit. I give The Half King 5 out of 10 poorly foreshadowed plot twists.
Are you kidding me? 5? 5. It's dry toast, with a side of glowing weirdness and a disappearing boyfriend. I give it 2 out of 13 unnecessary moments of divine intervention, generous.
Utterly contradictory, as usual.
That's why they love us. All right, folks, that's all the time we have. Next week, we're tackling a real mind-bender. Gary the Sentient Garage Door Opener finds love.
Please tell me you're joking.
Never. Until next time, keep those pages turning and those opinions loud. This has been Heart Book Radio.